Okay. I was going to get this on the tripod. And so both of us will have to be on our own Instagrams?
Yeah. See, I'm gonna try to get you inside my live in there.
Okay. I was going to get this on the tripod. And
George, can you go into my? It's gonna show up my live on Instagram. Can you join there?
right now.
Hello, everyone. We're gonna be starting the live show with George Cuevas in about a minute. Um, we're going live on Facebook. Okay, I sent you the invite, I think.
Yeah, I think I got it.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I don't know if it's just lower the volume on your cell phone so we don't listen to it.
Yeah. Would that work?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, hello everyone. This is Christian Arce, and this is another episode of the Real Estate Talk, where I talk to fellow Facebook friends from the real estate industry and the lending industry, just to give you a different perspective of what is going on in the trenches right now. Share some positive, inspirational tips and ideas. From real people, brokers, lenders, and everybody in the real estate industry. Today, we actually going to have a great guy that is also in the real estate industry, um, but in a different way. So, please like and share if you will. I would really appreciate it. We're on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, so that way we can share this information with more people. Now, I'm excited to talk to my next guest today. He's U.S. Army vet, founder and CEO of El Guapo Video Marketing. He's a video producer and a video expert and marketing expert for real estate, and also the host of his own podcast, Margaritas and Video Marketing Show. So we're gonna be asking him everything about
Morning.
what's going on with him today and how he's staying on top of his game during this crisis with COVID-19. So here's George Cuevas, everyone.
Hola, Christian. How are you?
Good,
It's
good,
really good to see you.
good, man. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today and kind of share some things with you. Before we start, George, I think your image on your Instagram is sideways.
Yeah, I gotta position this thing somehow.
There you
It's
go. There you go. Now
yeah,
it's
I
good.
had to hold it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I was
So
I gotta find a way to hold this thing.
that's
Let's
awesome.
see
That's
if I
awesome.
can
I mean, this is our first
do that.
time, my first time at least doing, Instagram. So live. So just bear with us. Is this is great. So Georgia, how are you today, man? It's been a while since I talked to you, and
Yeah.
obviously you moved since then. So how's everything going in California?
No, we moved out here a year and a half ago, and
doing the whole like, let's leave Chicago and leave our businesses and try to see if we can get this a piece of this California dream.
Right.
So we're out here, starting all over again. Is something that's challenging, financially, mentally, especially the mental part. In Chicago, I had my clients, my friends, people that I even if I didn't do business with them, I had professional relationships with them, and you lose that when you come to a whole different market because you can't bring all those clients and all those professional relationships with you. And so in Chicago, I could walk into so many different real estate offices and I could literally, start a conversation with so many people and I'd be welcomed. And, you get invited to go to events and to speak and everything. And you get out to a brand new market and you're a nobody when you get out here. There's
Right.
no, I haven't developed any credibility with the community here to lend, like I said, I'm just, just a Mexican guy with a camera. So you have to approach it with like some humility and a lot of
Absolutely.
grinding, and I think that's been the part that's been the biggest adjustment. Like you get down here and you got to humility. It's like you're starting over, but you got all this knowledge inside and you know all these things, but you have to show and prove it and work it kind of slowly, because you have to show people that there's a reason why you know the things you do and can do the things you do. But I can't just say, well, in Chicago we did this and we did this, oh, in
Right.
Chicago we were doing this. That doesn't work here, and there's times when you want to say that, but inside it, what are you doing? You
Right.
gotta. So yeah, we moved down here, and then that also puts you in a challenge. Put me in a really challenging place because we had to. We were moved on from we still do real estate, but we
Mhm.
started doing different types of video production. So we started doing
Okay.
more marketing videos. We even produced a comedy show that we sold to a network. So we're doing different types of video projects that even went beyond real estate. And then even with the real estate stuff, we upgraded our gear and we tried, we've been doing a lot more stuff on the real estate side too.
Mhm.
Different types of shots, a lot of different types of drone things, lifestyle videos. So the whole thing here is been adding new skills, learning tons of new things every month. I'm learning, even though I knew a lot when I was still in Chicago, we had in this kind of work, you have to keep learning, you have to keep developing your skill set.
Right.
And so I found, has coming here, we got out of our comfort zone in a really big dramatic way and had to continue to grow by learning the learning new skills part was a big thing. So I filmed a lot of different types of projects that I'd never filmed before. And maybe if I had stayed in Chicago, I would never have filmed that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I think getting out of the comfort zone was another big sort of just crazy thing that we went through. And it probably was a good thing to go through. And yeah, so that's where we're at, where we are.
Well, but at the
Go
same
ahead.
time, I mean, before, I think that, showing some of your expertise in videography and real estate marketing, the same way that you used to do it here by, doing some events now that, probably they're opening the doors again, that could be a lot of help for you in there. And at the same time on video, I mean, everybody jumped to start doing Zooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that now more than ever, a lot of those real estate agents and real estate investors and anybody that is on the real estate industry, even lenders, they need to learn a little bit more about how they can get out there and in
Yeah.
a simple way because as you know we all complicate things, right? And we all want to have the nice camera, they want to have the nice
Yeah.
microphone and all that stuff. And look, I mean, I started this thing and it was like, I don't have any of that. I'm just going straight out of my computer. So,
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah.
have any lights. I don't have any special cameras or anything like that. But the idea is just to get out there and start doing it, right? So,
Right.
and obviously we're living now in a moment that there is a lot of fears out there. So on top of the one that sometimes we put ourselves on, and I think that it makes things even more difficult for a lot of people. And the idea is um, to show them a little bit about how to get out on social media and show some of the clients, the prospect, that they're here for them, that they can put out a message out there and say, hey, my clients were here, past clients, right? And then try to market for new ones, just showing that they're still here, because obviously a lot of people out there, they think that you went out of business just simply because they don't see you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Something like this happens and they think that everybody went out of business, right?
Mhm.
So the idea, I think that this is the best moment to get out there, since a lot of people are at home and they're not working as much. But now everybody's kind of getting ready to, but they're not going to go probably full time, or you know all day long, work like they were going before. A lot of companies out there, even in the lending industry, have been hearing um, that they're getting more comfortable with their employees working from home,
Yeah.
working virtually. So a lot of that stuff makes the people to stay home more, and they're going to do a lot more virtual stuff. And that's kind of our goal today, just to reach some of those business owners, brokers in the
Yeah.
real estate industry. They need some direction on, and some ideas how to get through this, and how to use this platform to help their clients.
Yeah. No, I everything you just said, um, well, and that's why I kind of began where I started there.
Mhm.
We moved and we had to learn a whole lot of different things
Right.
if we wanted to survive here. And even for someone like myself who knows a lot and has all this fancy gear and equipment, that doesn't mean that I even myself could stop learning.
Mhm.
So when
Yeah.
it comes to just like getting started on doing video, you know, the camera on your phone is more than good enough to start. And
Mhm.
for photographers and videographers have this saying that that's really common amongst all of them. And they say that the best camera you have is the one that you already own, the one that you got in your hand, the one that you got in your pocket. And don't worry about like if you don't have the gear or the technology, you have to do with what you have. And the cool thing was that today, um, because the camera on your phone is so powerful, you really can just start with that. When I first started making my first marketing videos, I was still a real estate agent and a managing broker. And, at that time, we didn't have video cameras on our phone,
Right.
and we had to go buy a camera. And they were easy to use, but much more difficult than they are today to use. So the fact that you can do that, the fact that you can edit on your phone, through a whole bunch of different types of programs, it's got, not that it's easy, it's still hard work, but it can be done now.
Yeah.
And so like what you were saying in your introduction, which makes a total sense, and we could really start and end it right with what you just said, which is just that you have to do it a few times. Like you started doing this right here, and it looks like you learn how to use Be Live, and whatever software, whatever gear that you choose, you just have
Mhm.
to use it. A lot of times I tell a lot of people that I'm not technically proficient in anything.
Right.
The only thing I didn't grow up making movies in my with an 8mm camera when I was a kid. I didn't go to film school or do any of that kind of stuff. I
Right.
just picked up the camera and I just started shooting. And everything that I learned was just by doing or watching a YouTube video. Even like Jeannie, my girlfriend, knows more about a lot of this stuff than I do sometimes, and she's teaching me stuff, and she doesn't even do it. So I learn from wherever I can learn, and you have to be like a sponge, no matter how far you get. And the
Right.
thing is, like, once you do pick up a camera and you shoot something, you're gonna hate the first video you make. Like the
Yeah.
first live that you made, you might have hated everything. You might have hated the way you looked, the way you sound, the way you dressed, like whatever. But everyone else that watches that, as long as you were trying to be as true and authentic to whatever it is you wanted to communicate, as long as you were going down that path, no matter how bad you looked or how much your eyes twitched or how whatever happened, other people that watch it are not going to see it with the same criticism that you're going to have when you viewed
Right.
it. And they're going to see something much different. They're going to see you like, wow, you got in front of that camera and you started talking, and it was amazing that you like put out that thought or that idea and you shared that. And they're going to see a completely different thing. So that self-critical thing that happens, that's a normal thing. Actors do it. Everyone does it. No one likes watching themselves on video, but it's that criticalness that you have about, how bad you thought it was. That's what you need to use to improve for the next one. So you make a bad video the first time, or one that you think is bad, and then you make a second one. And that second one, you start to fix all the things that you hated about the first one. A lot of it happens internally. You're just like, you're thinking, you're more cognizant about these things. And then with that second video and the third video, you get better and better, and now you become in a position where you can use video as a tool to help you connect with
Right.
more people. And
Well,
and
yeah, I
that's
mean, I
yeah,
don't know if
and-
you remember the first video that we did together for one of our properties, and it was like I hated it. I hated it the way that I was looking, the way that I sound when you hear yourself in the
yeah,
video,
yeah,
your the sound of your voice. I was like, no, just take me off the video. I was like not taking it. So, but yeah, definitely. But nowadays, there is a lot of other like I think it's a good time to go like really back to basics and do some really basic stuff with your phone, and
yeah,
then short videos that you can download on your computer very easily, very quick, that you can send out to clients very quickly. And at
yeah,
the same time, I use like very simple editing videos, that program that comes inside the Windows. That's what I use. So that's
yeah. There's nothing
as
wrong with
much as I know about video editing. So, but the
it.
idea is that I use it just for simple stuff like stories or stuff like that on Facebook and
Mhm.
things like that, and
Yeah.
and then just learn, right?
Right.
And
It's by doing. That's the only way. And again, remember, like, you got in the bear, you got somewhere in the link here that I'm an Army vet, right? So I came
Mhm.
out of the Army, and we started doing real estate because my brother was a realtor at the time. The market just crashed, and he's like, "Hey, I think there's going to be opportunity here with short sales and REO." So I got my license, and we started going to work. And I didn't. Again, my whole background, nothing is technical. There's no. I have no technical background. Is just by doing it over and over again and trying to
Mhm.
figure things out. And I saw this when I was in real estate, and I think it's still there. And not even, it's not just a real estate thing. I think we see this in sales and marketing in general, and in entrepreneurship. Is that if you get too comfortable with something, with the way something works, and you keep just doing that because that's the way it's always been done, or that's what your company has always done, and you never move on from that in terms of learning new skills, especially when it comes to communications and marketing, then what happens is that you're doing things just because it's comfortable and because it's safe. And and you never put yourself out there, you never try something, you never experiment. And marketing is all about experimentation. It is all about trying different things. And here's the thing with real estate. In real estate, every agent is going to have a little bit different way that they're going to market. Like, you could go to the Tom Ferry thing, or any one of the great real estate coaches, and they'll have a system, and those systems are great and they work, but they don't work exactly the same for every single person, because every single agent runs their business a little bit differently.
Right.
And and your marketing has to be a mirror and an extension of what it is you stand for, what it is you believe in, what it is you offer your clients. And that's very different agent to agent. There's some agents that are just wham bam, transaction done, go on to next transaction, wham bam, transaction done. And there's other agents that are building true relationships with their clients, and they're selling the parents a house, then they're selling their kids a house, and then they're selling the uncles a house. So they're building relational these relationships and their transactions are extremely relational.
Right.
Nothing wrong with either approach. If whatever approach you like is what, if that works for you, that's awesome. That's what works. But in video,
Mm-hmm.
you are not making TV commercials.
Right.
You're not putting these advertising things like, hey, if you want to sell your house tomorrow, I can sell it fast, you know, and you know, I don't know, big balloons waving in the air and stuff like that. Like it you know, unless you're that transactional type, but it is a chance for somebody to get to know you. They get to hear you, they get to see you, they get to see that essence of who you are.
Right.
And that's when video becomes really powerful, because they can get to know you without actually having to meet you in person. And so when you started earlier talking about, like, you know, everyone going on Zoom and everyone going even double down into online and social media during the pandemic, um, it's not that we weren't doing that before, but we were already all connected and we were already consuming a ton of information online through social media and taking all this information through video and podcasts. But you just saw, like, you to me during the pandemic, what it showed us was that people, this is not a fad. This is not a this is not a thing for young kids. This is the way we communicate today.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way we gather our information, regardless of your age, regardless of your background, regardless of your social, economic, whatever. This is how we communicate today. So if you're a business, you have to have some type of video out there. It is the way people are going to find you. It's the way people are going to find out who it is you are. And that's where you start first with video. Because now when you get that camera in front of you, you have to figure out, what is he going to say? Like, what are you going to talk about?
Right.
And you've got to know who you are as a business and stuff, because if you're the one that's building the relationships, well, then now it makes more sense for you to be making videos about the community, to be making videos that are helping buyers and sellers. You're in that kind of phase. If you're the transactional person who's just wham bam, transaction after transaction, you go make the silly, ridiculous ultra sales video and see how well that works, you know. And again, it's all about experimentation. So you won't make one video and then that video is going to bring you 10 transactions. It's a long-term process. It's a long-term game. You're doing the marathon, not the sprint. So it's that culmination of videos that you're producing is what's going to work. I think that Josh O'Angles, he's a friend of mine, and he was a client,
Yes.
a real estate investor turned into a real estate agent. If you're watching this right now, you watch what Josh did and what he is doing right now. And if you go to his first videos, he's wearing a suit. He's very tucked in. He's not expressing himself. He is trying to act and sound like a real estate agent, like the stereotypical kind of, you know, in the sky. Right. So he's got the suit. It's a pinstripe suit. He's very buttoned up, very serious, you know, and that was Josh for 1 year. But then he started seeing that, like, I'm not connecting with people. I'm making all these videos and they're great and I look good and I sound good, but they're not connecting. And then he started opening up and allowing more of his own personality to come out. And when he allowed his own personality to come out, and he's got this funny, quirky sense of humor thing going on, when he let that start happening, then that's when video started working for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the moral of the story is that you've got to know what kind of business you're running and how is it that you communicate right now, because the video is just the extension of how that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously takes a process, right? So this with me, for example, these lives that I'm doing now, although I'm, putting the word out there, trying to see what other people, this crisis from different perspectives, from your perspective, and agents and investors and lenders. The idea is that is also helping me get better at it, and this might grow into something else. So obviously.
Right.
The idea now, I think that the best way now to get started for a lot of them, I don't know if you agree, but I mean, just doing short messages and just saying people, hey, I'm just here if you need any help, right? Or maybe, showing some tips for
totally do that. Yep. It's exactly that. I watched the video. I have a mortgage broker here in town. His name is Scott Evans. He's one of the biggest mortgage brokers. I know he's one of the biggest in Southern California, and I know his numbers are pretty astronomical. But Jeannie got a video message from him yesterday, and we went to a party yesterday, and we're listening to it in the car, and it was just that kind of video. It was like, hey guys, I want to tell you what's going on here with lending. He specializes in VA home loans. And so he had some information on that, and it was on his phone. It was through Vidyard or one of those things, and but it was just what you just said. Just here's an update. Here's what's happening. Here's what we're doing. And if I can help you with anything, give me a
Right.
call.
I'm here,
It's
still learning. I'm still
yeah,
working. I'm
yeah,
alive. I'm
yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, because
yeah,
of course we know that a lot of people have been affected by COVID, right? So a lot of people got sick and everything, but no, it's not the case for everyone. So obviously,
right.
anybody that is good and healthy has the ability to put something out there and kind of connect with their clients more now.
Yeah, you've got to be. I saw a lot of this right when the pandemic started, and it was me and Jeannie called it tone deaf marketing. So I saw Grant Cardone do a little bit of it.
Mhm.
When you saw people in those first 2 weeks and their marketing, it didn't have to be real estate; it could be anything. But I'm
Yeah.
sure that you saw it where like it was like, hey, this is the best time to buy this, or this is the best time to do this, right? You saw a lot of course creators, people who do training, so hey, everything's down. This is the best time to go train. If you're not training and learning a new skill right now, you are a loser. You saw a lot of tone deaf stuff. You saw from the big corporations, you saw marketing that you could tell was created before the pandemic. It just
Right.
still went out, and
Yeah.
it's like, and you're like, are you guys not even watching or paying attention to it?
And
Um, but like, but you're right. You have to find ways to communicate in a positive sense. I try to stay out of all the political stuff. We did one for we did a video project here, and Compass was involved, and they worked with a non-for-profit in town, raised money to give to local restaurants to then send to a hospital, and we recorded a little bit of that. So
Mhm.
they got their Compass T-shirts on. Compass agents love to wear the Compass stuff. That's cool, whatever. But they didn't talk about the market. They didn't talk about what was. They didn't talk about themselves.
Right.
What they talked about was like, hey, there's this pandemic going on, and we wanted to help, and this is what we did, and that was it. And we showed it, and then we showed it.
Even getting out there, this is also a great opportunity for those agents, those local agents, to get in touch now with the businesses are in their area
Oh
and
yeah,
help them promote.
yeah,
Just go to the restaurant and do a small video with the restaurant owner. Go to the flower shop and do a small video with the restaurant with the flower shop owner,
yeah.
and just help them get their word out there. And at the same time, I mean, they're going to be very appreciative, and they're going to be able to share your video. They're going to be able to like it and put it in front of a lot more people, and obviously share the audience with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a great way to connect with local
It
people.
especially if it's a place that you really like. Especially like if you genuinely like this restaurant or this local shop,
Right,
and you,
right,
you love whatever product or service they offer. Now that's the recipe for success. Like when you truly believe in whatever it is you're saying, whatever it is you're communicating, that's
right.
when it works the best. Yeah. And yeah, so if you could do that with a business, that's a recipe for success. You don't need to hire a videographer for it. You don't need fancy equipment. You could literally do it on your phone. It could be like you said, just super short. If it's a cool donut shop, you literally go to donut shop, you show the donuts, like these donuts are great.
Mhm.
And here's the owner, and she or he, they're great. And people love that stuff because it's just genuine, it's authentic. It could be short at the same time, which is super important right now. And that's a recipe for success. And that's going to work for the agent that's building the relationships, like that type of strategy.
Mhm.
Again, if you're that transactional person, it's probably not going to work. But if you were building relationships and you really want to be a positive force in your community, then
Right.
you do that.
No,
And
and
that will,
the same thing as Gary Vee says, the jab, right hook, right?
yeah,
So the thing is that by doing that, by helping those business owners now that they're reopening, a
Hmm.
lot of them. And if, like you said, if you truly like the business, I think that's the only way that it should go, right? Just only
Yeah.
with the ones that you interact the most,
Yep.
your hairdresser, anybody, barber, whatever, right? That to kind of interact on a video like that, and then in the future, whenever you want to put a flyer on their business, I'm sure they're going to be more than willing to help you put a flyer out there when you're
Yeah.
trying to push out a property or something like that, right? But
Yeah.
now is the time that they need help. And even now with the your post, your live, your stories on your Facebook and Instagram, you can tag them in there, right? So you can
Hmm.
put help the business owners, and you can tag any business in there that they have a a Facebook page or an Instagram page, and they automatically put it on your post. So
Yeah.
that is a great thing. That one, actually, I heard a marketer the other day saying that his stories were having uh, a huge amount of views now when they were putting those help business, or
Yeah.
those little tags that they use now for staying at
Yeah.
home, or helping small business owners, when you tag them in your post. So you just get a lot more interaction on your show, on your stories, on your post, just by putting those hashtags in there. So
Yeah, on stories, it's all about hashtags, and that seems to be especially on Instagram. I mean, that is the way it's all going. The news feeds in the next 5 years may not really be as dominant as they are now on a lot of these platforms. It's going to be through story, through a stories type format. It
right.
looks like, especially with the under 35 crowd. That is the way that they communicate and consume content on Instagram, is through
Mhm.
stories. It's quick, it's bite sized, and they can flip super, super fast. And like I said, we that's different for us. Like, even since we met, like that's a very new thing.
Mhm.
That wasn't a way we were communicating on social media 3 or 4 years ago, but now it is. And again, kind of like what we started before. Even myself, I have to learn how to do more stories because I wasn't doing that before. And when they started, a lot of times when new things in social media come out, especially when it's new technology, I'll usually wait a little bit. I'll play with it. I'll experiment with it before I double down and just, like, become a big advocate for it, because you've
Mhm.
got to learn how to use it. You got to see how can I use this to help communicate better. Um, but what you're saying earlier about, using this as a tool to actually help businesses, that's all this really is. And we've done a lot of free projects during the pandemic to do, like, just that kind of stuff. It sucks. Not sucks. It's work that you have to put in, but like I said, you put something good out there, because if you believe in it and it's a good cause, and you're helping, and that's you being positive in the community that you're serving, and
Absolutely.
that will come back around, and it always comes back around. The thing is that you never know when it's going to come back around, but it does, and you can't expect anything to come back around. That's the other
Mhm.
part of it. So you can do something good and do something positive. You could help another local business. It doesn't mean it's going to turn into a listing or a
No,
buyer,
yeah, yeah.
but
It just had to be honest, from a business that you really use all the time, a restaurant that you like, a small, the smaller the better. Your taco place, anybody on the street. If you eat on the street or before, or someone, like the other day, I saw a video of those ladies that they sell tacos on the street. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And they,
yeah,
they came out again for the first time, and I saw someone, that went to get some food in there, and they did a small video for the lady that was
yeah,
selling there. So that was great. I mean, so that
yeah,
was
that's
like,
awesome.
it's perfect. Yeah. And at the same time, that builds up more relation. I mean, the same thing for you guys, right? On videographers, I think that a lot of, I'm sure, I don't know, that a lot of videographers lost a lot of business now, right? They're not
Yeah,
doing as much. So
yeah,
I think that building that relationship with business owners, my phone just went up.
uh,
Building that relationship with business owners too, it can become something great, because there is all these other people now that they can, they offer you manage your social media and all that stuff, and a lot of business owners are getting into that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, for those guys there's managing their social media, they still need videos of you, they still need videos of your business, they still
Yeah.
need stuff like that, that you guys can definitely
Yeah.
help
And
simple stuff.
yeah, it's simple stuff. And like I said, we had to do a bunch of that. So we had a bunch of projects that got canceled.
Hmm.
All of our corporate stuff got canceled as soon as the quarantine hit.
Right.
Not canceled, but put off. And
Yeah, put on.
um, yeah, and then we had another comedy show that we were producing that was supposed to be happening now. That we would be releasing it somewhere now, or maybe by 4th of July, but we'd be actually producing and filming that show now. So yeah, a lot of stuff got put on hold, and yeah, so I think those first couple of weeks we had to kind of wait and see, like
Right.
what does this all mean and stuff, and like what's the world going to look like. But then
Right.
as you start seeing things play out, then we could start making some moves. And yeah, so we did a lot of we did a whole bunch of free videos in the
Mhm.
last like 2 months, and it's just part of doing business. It's a part of what you have to do to have a positive impact in your own community. So
Absolutely.
to me, like being a real estate agent, though, I think that I've always said that's one of the best ways to connect with your community is by doing that local type stuff, because you have to be a local expert.
Right.
And Gary Vee talks a lot about that, and it makes the most sense, to talk about the things that you love that are in the community that you serve.
Have you thought about putting any of that stuff, that the comedy shows that you guys are producing or anything like that, on YouTube and launch it through there?
Well, the comedy show we sold to a network.
Hmm.
So, once they buy it, they buy all the rights to it and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right.
like we have the trailer. I think I posted the trailer on my stuff, but uh, we made a really cool trailer that goes with it. But yeah, once you sell it, you sell off all the rights.
Right.
So it's kind of like you have this little baby, and then you
Absolutely.
you have to give it away, But but I think one of the ideas we have right now is to do a comedy show in a parking lot, like a live comedy show, because you can't do it in a club right now in California. I know there's other parts of the country where they're opening up comedy clubs. I know in Houston, Texas, their comedy clubs are opening up now. So in California, we restaurants open, but I don't think comedy clubs is like a phase 3 or phase 4 thing. So
Right.
like right
I
now,
think
we're
it's
trying to
going
do.
at a 50%, right?
Yeah. You have to do it. And then we thought about doing a comedy thing when the whole pandemic hit, like on like something like this. But
Mhm.
what was interesting is that all the comedians that we had on the first show, we asked them, "Hey, do you guys want to do another show? We'll record it, tape it, and then we'll sell it." And but they can't do it without an audience.
Right.
They
Yeah,
can't
that's
they actually need, yeah. And that I didn't, like I said, I'm so new to the whole comedy thing on that side of things that it was something I didn't even know.
well.
But like
I was I watch sometimes, Conan O'Brien, and he was
yeah,
doing an interview with another girl. Can't remember her name. That was a comedian too, and they were talking about that, doing comedy online without an audience, and he was
yeah,
like, it's
it
like
doesn't work. Yeah.
it doesn't work for them because they don't have the reaction, so they don't know. Sometimes they change, they improvise things when they're talking.
Mhm.
It's not a structured thing, it's not a
Right,
a script
right,
per se, right? So
right.
they
Mhm.
improvise a lot, and depending on how the audience reacts, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, without the audience, it's very difficult for them to
It's
do it.
very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, because that was the first idea. I was like, we still can do a comedy show. We just won't have people there. And they were all like, no, we can't do that. It's impossible.
And at the same time, I mean, we have a lot of people in the real estate industry too that they're very funny. And I mean, like you just mentioned Josh earlier, and some of the videos that he was doing were really funny. And I think that's a niche that is definitely out there, that you can probably explore a little bit more.
Well, it could be the comedy thing. It can also be, again, like what you were talking about with the local businesses. If you have that kind of connection with your community, you show off that. All my Polish agents that are in Chicago, I
Yeah,
keep if any of them are going to be listening, I'll say this directly to their face all the time. It's like, you guys should be making more Polish content, because like in Chicago, you have the second largest Polish population in the world next to Warsaw. And it is just like the Latino community, it is a very proud, very focused, that they are a together type community. They they love to consume Polish content, and
Yes.
that is an active audience right there,
Mhm.
that has a yearning for more content, so any kind of thing you can produce for the Polish community is going to work in Chicago.
Right.
And the same goes with the Latino community too. So like if Maggie Matthews is listening, or any of the realtors that I worked with at Realty Chicago, I've told them a lot of times too, like, it's the Latino community wants more content, and Lale doesn't give, or Univision doesn't give us enough content,
No.
and that's a more generic sort of kind of generic kind of more content. They want more stuff. So
Yeah.
there's an active audience there just within the ethnic communities of Chicago to offer different types of content towards. During the pandemic, we saw Julian Jumpman Perez come out doing
Mhm.
his he was doing his dance things every like weekend, and you saw like, hundreds of thousands of people watching those Facebook lives, and it's super, super powerful.
Right.
And just like, you could see that sort of connection happening. You could see that's a whole other community,
Right.
people that did the whole house dancing like back in the 90s. So there's all these micro communities out there, like with myself being in the veteran community. And if you could have a positive impact in that, and use video as that tool that will get you into that community, that will make you be a part of that community, again, that's when the real magic happens. If you approach video as just like, hey, I'm going to make a sale, I'm going to make a video and talk about how passionate I am about real estate, or I'm going to make a video that talks about how great my team is, or how big my brokerage is,
Right.
those are ideas for a TV commercial. And
Mhm.
the problem is that if you make a TV commercial, people are going to react to the TV commercial the same way they react to a TV commercial when they see it on TV.
Right.
And that is that they're going to take the remote control and they're going to flip to the next channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have the patience for TV commercials, and that's why you don't want to make a TV commercial.
Right.
So it again, it's one of these. It's when you talk about this stuff, it's one of these things that you always end up going back to the same thing. It's finding that way to bring value, and when we say that, like, value is such a it's an overused term. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, offer value and it'll work, but it's finding that way that you can bring value
Right.
that's really where the work is. Forget about, again, you said, don't worry about the gear. You just use your phone, but it's finding like how can I bring more value to that community?
Right.
And then you experiment. Like I
And,
said,
I mean, the need nowadays, the need is so massive. I mean, for business owners, the help that business owners need right
yeah,
now is so massive that is definitely a great opportunity for agents, anybody, even I have an insurance agent friend that we were talking about and kind of brainstorming which way they can approach and go out and do some videos and stuff like that without selling,
yeah,
their insurance. You know what I mean? The idea is to for them to get in touch with the businesses even more when they do commercial insurance. You know what I mean?
oh
So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
so
yeah. The insurance agents are a whole other group too. That it's the same. It's the same tactic.
right.
It's the exact same tactic. The insurance agents, it's even more, especially for the local ones. It's all relationships.
Hmm.
It is all relationships. There's they can't rely if they're franchise working for one of the big ones. It's all about the relationships. The only way they can keep people from switching, and
Because,
going rate shop.
anybody will take free advertising, right? So if you're willing to put your their information out there, their website, their address, their social media
Yeah,
stuff, and just bring in some business without anything attached to it, people will take that every
yeah.
day. So
Yeah. And that's really what it is, man. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. I know that when it comes to social media and just digital, again, I know you put on there expert, and I never call myself an expert. Um, again, this is all stuff that it changes so much. Like
Right.
social media changes so fast that like the minute that you are an expert, the next day you're not anymore because
Right.
it's evolved and it's changed and it's morphed. The way that we use Facebook 5 years ago is not the same way we use it today,
True.
and and even the way we make videos today. If you know, I'll watch some of my older videos that I made like 5 years ago, and I cringe. You know, they're so bad compared to like today. You know,
Right.
and even the way we produce video content, we used to make much more longer form content five
Right.
years ago. Even for a real estate virtual tour, we would film. It wouldn't be not uncommon to make a 4 minute long real estate virtual tour video 5 years ago. But today we're looking to try to make these 1 minute, 2 minutes at the
Right.
most. And it's not because we're trying to be like, and we're not trying to make it cheaper or anything like that. It takes the same amount of time. Actually takes more time to make it shorter because you have to be even more creative with the cuts.
Condense it more. Right.
Yeah, and because the attention span is so small
Sure.
on online, if it's not moving forward and if it's not just bam 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 scene after scene, and if it's not moving forward and it doesn't have some energy to it, people are just going to tune it out.
But at the
And
same time, I've been uploading some short videos
yeah,
on Facebook, for example, and Facebook puts a message every time I put up videos like they're like, you know, half a minute. Okay.
yeah,
They
yeah,
say, they put a message out there saying that if that videos that are 3 minutes or longer are getting more attentions, or they're, kind of putting them out there more than,
right.
shorter videos. What do you think about that?
So no, that's a really good point. So let's dive into that. There's two ways that it works. So the first thing is that you can have a long video, but the content's got to be really good. So
Mm-hmm.
in this, even like in the live thing like this, if all I did for the first 10 minutes was talk about all my credentials and talk about, oh yeah, we're making this kind of project right now, we're doing this, and we're like, yeah, and if all I did is talk about myself, and that's it, that's all that came out that first 10 minutes.
Right.
We could have that over 3 minute long video, but that doesn't mean anyone's going to watch it. So it does come down more to the content and the quality of the content, not the video production, the quality of the actual content, meaning like what are you delivering message wise, story wise. If someone's going to watch the video, what are they going to get out of it? It has to be always about the audience. So it's true, like a longer video can work, and like look at a Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan can have a 3 hour long interview,
Right.
um, but that is
Super
really really
interesting. Yeah.
it's
Right.
super interesting, it's really good content. So yeah, you can have any length, but the short video, it's a combination of short and long. Even again, you go back to Joe, let's use Joe Rogan as an example.
Mm-hmm.
He still has, they'll take out clips. They're not super short, but they'll take out, it could be a 2 minute clip, it could be a 10 minute long clip
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
from one of his 2 or 3 hour interviews, and they'll put that on YouTube, and that will be a small little mini segment. So um, the small bite-sized content can get people introduced to who you are. It can keep people up to date with what you're doing, so it has a purpose. And then
Mm-hmm.
longer form content can have a purpose for the right piece of content, the right topic to go dive deeper in, like something we're doing here. We're going to talk about video and marketing, and so we could easily give a tip or two that lasts 30 seconds or a minute. And then there's, that's good content. And then there's this where we have a more longer conversation and dive more deeper into it. So I think it's like that combination of the two. So when we're producing a video, a lot of times now for a brand, we'll have a long video that could be the minute or the 2 minutes, or if it's a really long piece, could be like that 4 to 5 minute video. And when we're producing something like that, we're also making that under 1 minute cut, which could be a 30 second, a 15 second. It could be like that small little bite-sized cut. We're all, it's all part of the same project, but we know that we need a couple of those little blips. That one little blip could be used as an advertising piece to go to the bigger piece,
Mm-hmm.
so we could lead with something. We could give let's use the topic of video marketing. We could give a video marketing tip in 30 seconds out of this interview. We could cut it, put an intro and end to it and some cool music, and then use that to cut into this longer form piece. Right. And at the end, give a call to action and say, hey, if you want to learn more, like let's say the 30 seconds we talk about gear, here's the gear you need to get started. So, hey, if you want to know more about how to use this gear and start making videos that can help your business, go check out the full interview with George Cuevas here. Bam. And that's it. So yeah, I think there's a case to be made for both. So a lot of times I don't think so much that one is better than the other. I think they both, if you use them together, they both have a purpose.
Absolutely.
Short and long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now what do you think that for people that are just, that never done video, some of those agents out there that they want to try to get their feet wet on that stuff, what would you say that, that they should do just to get started and kind of get used to it, to be in front of the phone or in front of their computer?
Well, I'll say three things. So the first one, I can tell you legitimately through my own experience that every agent that I made a video for back in Chicago that's still doing video today, even now that I'm gone, I still talk with all my agent friends back in Chicago. And whenever they make a good video, I'll call them and say, that was awesome. And every single one of them will say, I'm so glad that you got me, that you made me get out of my comfort zone and got me to make video. And because they've seen how powerful it is. So I can tell you, number one, that if you put the work in today and start doing it, you may not get a result tomorrow or next week, but I guarantee you that you will get a positive result if you keep doing it. And it'll be the kind of result that will convince you that that you'll believe inside that you have to be making more. See, like a guru can go out there and tell you, oh, you got to be making video. Like I call these guys bro marketers. My brother does the bro marketing thing. So, like make video's great, video's the future, all this nonsense. You could be screamed and yelled and told to do video, but the only way you're going to do it is if you really believe it inside, because it takes commitment, it takes work to do it and execute it. So, but from all these agents, I can't tell you, none of my past clients in Chicago have ever said, video's all right, but I don't think it was really for me, or it was kind of a waste of time. It was a waste of money. It's the opposite. Another short little story is that we have an agent here that I made. I work for one of the big brokerages here in town, and their agent came over for the listing. It was the first time we met. And, I'm shooting the house and saying, hey, let's get you in the video. And she's like, I don't like video. I don't need to do it, And I was like, listen, let's make the video. I promise it won't be that big of a deal. I'll make it really easy. So we did it. And she posted that video and she got a ton of responses from, like reactions, and all positive. And then, so the next time, the company called me for another listing shoot, and she's one of the listing agents. She's like, okay, George, let's do another one of those videos again, and then, we did it again. Now, this time she kind of opened up a little bit more. The first time it was really short and stuff. Then she opened up a little bit more. And then the same thing happened again, and this week we shot maybe like the 10th one with her. And now she's expressing herself, right? She's out there. She's comfortable. She wanted to do it. And she found like just how valuable it was. So you have to start. You're not going to like it. You're going to hate it. You're going to hate the way you look. You're going to hate the way your hair is. You're going to hate everything about it. But other people are not going to see it that way. So you just have to do it. Don't worry about being perfect, and don't worry about being right in any way. Just focus on how can I give value, and how can I deliver that in a very non-salesy way. And if you do that, it's going to come out just fine. And then on the second video, you have to watch the first video, see and you learn from that. And then you apply that to the second one, and you repeat that cycle over and over again. And that's how you get better at it.
Well, I think it's huge for real estate brokers, that they have that advantage that when they have listings, they can share a ton of videos, short pieces, long pieces, like
Yeah.
you said, that they can just do either with their phones in the beginning, and then a professional one with you when you just show the whole house and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they can do so much. They can get so much content out of that house, even if it's like do's and don'ts, right?
Yeah.
Look, this is how you not do a showing, or this is how you not stage a house, or this is how you do it the
Yeah.
right way, right? And offer that, that is huge for their personal brand. A lot of people sometimes concentrate, like you said, on selling,
Yeah.
or a lot of people are talking about, what's the price and all that stuff on the property. But the idea is that is all about them and selling the property,
Right.
just
Right.
showing the best features and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think that they should definitely take a lot of advantage of, even if they have one single listing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, because the purpose of the listing is not. We used to always say this in our office, was that the purpose of the listing was not to actually sell it. Like, we do want to sell it. We generally want to sell it, but if you really do it correctly, the purpose of it is to get more listings and hopefully a couple buyers out of it. It's an opportunity because now you've got something for sale that you can put out into the marketplace, which means you're going to get more eyeballs on it. And so if you can have a positive influence and attach yourself to all the eyeballs that'll be looking at that listing, that's how you get more business. So, if you're going to do a listing video, the professional listing video for a listing, it's not to actually, it is to sell the listing, but it's to do so much more than that. It's to help cultivate the relationship between the listing agent and the seller. Because when the seller sees that you produce this awesome piece of content, it does two things. One, it demonstrates to the home seller that you have a mastery of marketing and
Mm,
technology.
right.
And that is really important. And that's been important for a while now, but it's even, you have to demonstrate that you have that type of capability, because what it is that sellers want, they still want the same thing. How do
Yeah.
I sell my house in the quickest amount of time possible? And that's what they want. That's what they need. So when you can use video, it shows that, because they can't see all the work that goes on behind the scenes. They can't see the phone calls and all the things that you're doing. But what they can see is the video, and the video is the proof. So the video helps in that. The video then also helps if you have a house in an area or a neighborhood. It can be shown to all the people in the neighborhood, and so, like, listen, this is what I do when I go sell a house. This is how I sell houses. I use all these tools, and the video is the proof part of it. It's
Right.
what helps show that off. So and that's the way you use it. And if you focus too much that, oh, the video, it didn't help me sell the house, you were looking at it too short-sighted.
Yeah,
It
it's
also becomes
more about the exposure that it's giving
right.
you, more than
Right.
it didn't
And
help me or did help me
yeah.
sell that. That's right.
And that's why you want to be in the video too. Like,
Mhm.
every time, like, everyone has to work with me. Even when agents didn't want to do the video, I would make them be in the video. And
It's good for investors too. All the investors out there, renovating properties and stuff like that. People
yeah,
love the stuff that they the AGTV or whatever, right? So that they show
yeah,
the process. So when you show that process to people, people really love it. So I think that you can really take advantage of that, of the process, what's going on with the property during construction and after construction, once you're
oh
done
yeah,
and finished. At the
oh
same time, I think that with realtors, right? I think that sometimes they also should show a little bit about the area where the property is
yeah.
located, the stores, the small businesses around the area, parks and stuff like that. That they can do, like really simple videos about that, right?
Yeah, it's again, it goes back to this, like, how do I bring more value to it, and how do I show off my expertise in that? And with the rehabbers, it's the same thing. Like, with the stuff we used to do with eye candy, like back in the day, with Steve and Tim,
Yeah.
to get them launched over there, they we went behind the scenes on a lot of those projects that they were working on with eye candy, and that definitely helped them to show like, hey, we're more than just real estate agents. We have these expertise in rehabbing. And what does that do? It makes more rehabbers want to work with them, because they're doing something that's going even beyond just the regular real estate transactions. They're offering input into color selections and styles in terms of what should this house have as part of it. Even Frank Montreux does the same stuff. Like, Frank is like an excellent. He's one of the best salespeople and marketing people and real estate people in Chicago, because of that skill set. He knows how to talk the language of a real estate investor, and he demonstrates that with all that knowledge. And that's how he sells. That's how people go to trust him and want to do business with him. So yeah, if you're the agent and that community, like you've got this connection to that community, then other people need to know about that. You need to share that. And that is what's going to resonate. So you use what you have, if you do the food thing and local business thing, if you're a foodie, maybe you're a wine connoisseur, like you have to figure out that thing that you are passionate about, that you truly enjoy, and see how that merges and mixes with real estate. And I guarantee you there is something. There's an agent I met out here in Utah, and he's a Keller Williams agent. He is he's a pretty successful agent, and he mixes for him it's dog training, German shepherds, he's into that kind of thing, and guns. And so now he has a show where he talks about the things that he likes, and he connects with people that like that kind of stuff. And that's what drives a lot of the leads now to him.
Right.
So yeah, so it's just making that connection.
Absolutely. Well, I hear, I was looking at Instagram, cut us off. So just
Yeah. My thing went. Yeah.
So, but anyway, so the idea is that, so we wanted to show that in there as well. But definitely, I mean, this is a lot of great content, a lot of great ideas, I think, for realtors and anybody in the real estate industry, investors, for us too. I mean, when we started showing with you the process of the construction before, when we were working on the property, and then after, when the property was finished, it was more about the property than anything else. It was more about the building a brand than selling the property. The properties now, they practically sell themselves when you've done a great job on it, when it's a beautiful property, when it's staged correctly, or when it's in a good condition. They really sell themselves right now. So.
Well, I was in real estate 2 times. So the first time I was in real estate was back in 1996, and I'm still friends with the guys that gave me the job. This is my first job out of college, and I was a project manager for a home builder, and it was a really cool job because I knew nothing about construction and knew nothing about residential construction. But I don't know why they gave me a job, but they did, and they were really cool guys. And so during the week, I managed the construction on a subdivision where we had like about 200 houses being built. But then on the weekends, I would go in and I would hang out with the real estate. They had 2 real estate agents on staff that worked for the builder, and I would go in on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'd work the sales trailer with them. And that was my first introduction into selling and real estate sales. And what was great about that experience, having that then, and then fast forwarding to today, was that when we sold back in 96, the buyer didn't have all the information they have today. The buyer relied on the agent to get all that information. So pricing, inventory, they couldn't even see the properties. There were no pictures. There's no videos, if they saw any picture, it was just the front. The realtor was the gatekeeper to all the information. So in those days, the realtor really did sell the house in a way, because the buyer was reliant on the realtor to give them all the relevant information. So today, that is still true, but it's different now, because the buyer still relies on the realtor, but now they're looking at the realtor to be the guide. You're my consultant. You're my guide to not show me the bad houses, show me the good houses. Tell me what's wrong with this one. Tell me what's great about this one. And then I'll take your information and your opinion that I value. That's why I hired you. And then I'm going to process that with all the other information that I'm taking from online. So
Mm-hmm.
now they're getting all the information from Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com. They're taking all that information and now they're putting it together with the information you're giving them. And now they're making the decision for themselves. So I totally agree with you. Like what you said, the house in essence is going to sell itself, but that doesn't mean we stop marketing the house. It
Right.
doesn't mean it doesn't. It's exact opposite of that. It means that we have to go full on into marketing the house, because now we have to show. We know that the consumer is going to find it on their own, but we have to help them see all the wonderful things about that property, and they're not going to be able to see that if you have poor real estate photography. If you don't have some type of video or 3D Matterport, whatever, iGuide tour, you're limiting the experience that someone can have in viewing that property. So um, you have to be that trusted resource. And if you go back to like everything we said today, with the whole value thing, if they don't trust you, okay, video is that tool that can help you get there to getting the buyer, the seller to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they're going to learn about you. It's how they're going to find out how you are and your style. Like both of us are super laid back guys for the most part. That works for us. Other guys are more extroverted and stuff. So it's
Right.
going to help. It's going to help people like learn what kind of person is this,
Yeah.
and that is your competitive advantage. What people love about you, for any realtor, the things that all your past clients love about you, the things that they said about you after the transaction has consummated, those are the things that the next 10 people are going to love about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so now look at video as being that way to show those things off. Like Jeannie, my girlfriend, is like, when she sells a house and she works with a client, like she's very involved. If the deal is not going good, like she won't sleep, like she'll lose sleep over it. Like she's very, very involved. She's super, super passionate, and she cares about the client so much that it just, I mean, it just comes out, and that's what her clients love, is that she's going to put that, she's going to treat the client like if they were her own kids. I think she says that all the time. That's her thing. And so when she's on video, she's showing that passion off. That's coming out. She's letting that come out and being comfortable with that. So you know who you are, the way you communicate, what people love about you. Now you just have to give yourself that opportunity to start expressing that on a video. And it's not going to come out the first time perfect, and it's going to take some time, but I promise you that if you continue doing it, it will work, and you'll get better at it, and you will get to the point to where you'll see that you'll begin to believe that you have to make a video, not that like it has a need. Like you'll know that your business will need it if you start doing it, because you'll see the positive benefits that come with it. And like that's the best way I could word it without trying to be too salesy,
Right.
Yeah.
No, and try different things, right? Because sometimes, if one thing you don't like the way it work, but I mean, just try different ways. I mean, there is no rules about
No.
that. So I mean,
The only rule is to just be authentic, just be real and be yourself, and learn and continue to learn. Again, I told you in the beginning, like I experiment. I'm not an expert. I
Mhm.
just experiment and I try new things, and I mess up stuff all the time. I screw up things all the time. I don't know everything there is about videography. I'm not the best videographer out there,
Right.
but I still try to learn, and I still try to experiment, and I try to approach every project not as, oh, I'm the best. I try to every project is like I need to make this one better than the last one. So I go into every video shoot that way, so that I had to keep myself on my toes
Right.
with getting better at communicating, getting better at producing a better video. And it's no different if you're the real estate agent or the mortgage broker that is trying to use this as a tool. You
Right.
have to make that first video. I'm going to make the next one better, and make the next one better, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes just the way you start to program yourself. that it's no different than when you first got your real estate license. I'm sure like the first flip that you did, you didn't know everything about flipping the first time, you know.
Yeah.
um, you could go to Fortune Builders or Renatus. You could take any course or
Yeah.
whatever. You could have a coach, but that first project that you flip, you're going to go through a whole learning curve on that, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll learn from all the mistakes, and then you'll do the next one, and you
Yeah.
won't make the hopefully you don't make the same mistakes again, but you'll
Right.
make some new mistakes and you'll learn
Yeah,
from that.
the idea was, educate yourself first, and then obviously comes the action school, as I call
Yeah,
it. Right? The action school is going to teach you a lot of other things that you didn't learn on the books, on the videos, or things that a lot of the gurus teach you, or a lot of the real estate schools teach you.
right.
And one of the big things is marketing. And obviously throughout the last 10 years, I started flipping back in 2010. Since then till now, how many things have changed in regards to communication, video, Facebook, and all that stuff. So I mean, it's a lot. I mean, obviously your business is, that's another thing that a lot of people are saying, well, this is now because we're in a crisis. They're
Yeah,
saying, well, this is the time to make a change or look out for different ways to do your business. But actually, your business changes constantly every year. Even in the good economy, bad economy,
oh yeah.
so economy. So I mean, you gotta keep adapting. So this is just another bump on the road that you just gotta adapt to it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. You know, in 2008, when I got my license and coming out of the army, we saw a lot of agents at that time, not they did not want to do short sales.
Hmm.
Uh, the first year, we got a lot of our short sales from other agents. We would pay them a referral fee or something like that. A lot of them would just give them to us because they didn't want to go through, creating a short sale package and getting all the documents and you fax them out into the bank and
Time.
going through that. Yeah, it just took time. It was very cumbersome. It was a pain in the ass. There's nothing fun about doing a short sale transaction. But at the time, you you didn't have that many choices, eventually everyone had to pivot point and start doing distressed properties or getting involved in it some way or another. And then, when social media started becoming a thing, either you did it or you didn't. And, if you didn't, you have to look at it as like you're just losing out on more opportunity. And
Right.
yeah, I agree with you totally. Like right now, it's an interesting real estate market now. All across the country, we have inventory levels are down everywhere. And it's totally obvious. People that would have normally put their homes on the market now are not for various reasons, right? And a lot of those people might not be putting their homes on the market. So what do we have? We're going to have tight inventory supply for the next 6 months. That tight inventory supply is going to make the existing market of inventory, that's going to make those properties very hot. And now we're going to see the pricing pressure. We'll see if we also have the economic stuff that's going on right now.
Mhm.
And we're going to see this tug of war between prices wanting to go up because you have this tight market, but also the economic forces of the economy itself is not going to let them skyrocket up, right? So we're going to see this, but it's a super interesting time. But that means that your strategies are a little bit different as an agent or even a mortgage broker now. What you're going to do, what's going to work. If your business plan now, your marketing plan, if it's the 2018 version of it, that's not going to apply right now.
No.
A
And
lot of parts of that won't be working.
the social media nowadays is going to help a lot. People go through these crises.
Yeah,
It's going to be a lot better than back in '08, right? '08. How do we communicate to people that there are options, right?
yeah,
A lot of the times we're sending flyers to their homes, mailing stuff, and or just calling. But a lot of people that were in trouble, that were very stressed, the people were losing their houses. They will not open their doors to when you knock
yeah,
on them. They will not
yeah,
answer the phone because they were getting 1,000 phone calls from other stuff.
yeah,
So all that stuff now is changed because if you are able to build that communication through those past clients online, you're going to be able to communicate to them the options now that they have, and at the same time be able to help them a lot more. by by just simply bringing someone online like we did today, even on Instagram or anywhere, anybody. If you're working, obviously, realtors work together with attorneys and they work with lenders and stuff like that, that they can jump online and talk a little bit how, kind of give them a little bit of solutions and the options that they have out there today. Obviously, there's that thing with everybody skipping their mortgage payments, right? And a lot of people take advantage of it, and a lot of people took advantage of it that they didn't need it as well. But at the same time, they kind of shoot themselves from the foot because now they can't take advantage of the low interest rates. They can't refinance or anything because they went into forbearance, right?
Yeah.
So forbearance now is not gonna allow you to do refi or purchase another house for another year.
Yeah.
So and people didn't even think about that stuff, right? So and because there were so little information, things happen so fast, and sometimes people they just jump into it and without even knowing. So
The only good thing is I think the biggest thing I think will come out. Hopefully, we don't go through a big like a foreclosure type of crisis like that
right,
again, and hopefully this time the country learns its mistakes from the
right.
last crisis. We bailed out the banks and we foreclosed on all those people,
So
and
I think they were kind of smarter now to kind of get in
not
front
do
of the
that.
problem, right? Get in front of the problems, and the banks agreed from the beginning to give you some break on the payments, for example,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
So at least the approach
it
was
happened in
definitely.
'08, right?
Yeah, no. In '08, it was pretty much here,
Like,
banks, here you go, and start foreclosing. And it was that was a really sad situation. But I guess coming out of the pandemic, and I do believe we're coming out of this.
mhm,
I think to me things look a lot more positive than they did even 4 weeks ago.
yeah,
The country wants to move forward and go back to work. So what that means for real estate, the beautiful thing is that real estate held strong through
yeah,
all this
yeah,
transactions, showings were still happening in that first 2 weeks of the quarantines happening across the country. So, like the fact that real estate held on tells you that we have a very strong real estate market. It is a safe place to be as a consumer, and it's a safe investment, and that should make real estate agents happy all over.
yeah,
The biggest takeaway from this whole thing was that if you did not have a digital presence before, if you weren't doing anything digitally, if you never ran an ad, if whatever, like if you just weren't doing any kind of digital thing, and this didn't, you walk out of this and think that I can continue doing things the way I have. This proved, like without a doubt to me, that you have to be online and you have to communicate online.
yeah,
Um, like when we meet somebody for a project, pre-pandemic, I would meet someone through a networking event or a connection, and they want to see. I can tell them, oh, I'm a videographer. I've shot over, I've shot 2,500 things and this and that, and tell them all these accolades and stuff. But they have to see it, and you could tell them all day long, but you got to show them, which is going to be much more impactful. And if I didn't have my content online, if I didn't have the website, if I didn't have all these digital assets that back me up, and so that when I walk into somewhere, someone can look me up, you type in George Cuevas, and you're going to see El Guapo everywhere. You're going to see all this videos that I've done. And you'll be able to see it. And now your impression is going to be like, oh, that's what this guy does. And
yeah,
then, and that's what needs to happen. So, this to me, you have to look at things as being an opportunity. This is a horrible crisis that happened. A lot of businesses, unfortunately, are not going to make it through this.
mhm,
We all been hit. I've been hit, and so everyone's been hit by it. The only thing is that we all been hit equally, but it is going to progress forward. So hopefully you learn some new skills
yes,
before things start completely opening up again. And but then if you learn new skills, everyone, all the realtors went on Zooms, and I'm sure people are tired of Zooms by now, but you don't stop learning new skills. It's got to be part of your, every month, every week, you're learning new stuff. Pick up the video camera, Go shoot something. Don't worry about being perfect, and it is going to work if you continue to make more of them. I never I never promise that, that anything I tell someone is going to get them leads or bring them a new listing or 10 buyers or any of that kind of nonsense. I just tell people that if you do it, it is going to work. You just have to commit to it long enough.
Consistency.
And I've seen it happen so many times, like with people like a Josh Ingles. I saw it happen with the eye candy guys. I
Mhm.
saw it happen with King at Corpaz. I've seen it happen with Jeannie, my girlfriend. I've seen it happen over and over again with real estate agents. When they committed to it and they did it, it works.
No, and I mean, look, and I'm in contact with a lot of real estate investors too, and I think that they need to get out there a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Because they're also buying, they're looking for people that they're trying to sell, and they're looking to help some people as well. And I think that they can work together with the brokers out there
Yeah.
to bring some help to people and kind of be able to buy some investments at the same time that they're helping some people
Yeah.
in the community for sure.
Well, with the real estate investors, if you could show who you are to a potential buyer, when you have someone that's putting an offer in your house,
Yeah.
um, and maybe they're on the fence on, like, I don't know, like let's say they find an inspection issue and something's not right. I mean, if they can go and find out more about who the rehabber is, if the rehabber had a website with the past projects they've done
Hmm.
and got to see, like, oh, these guys actually are pretty nice and they seem like there's some hardworking individuals and they're just trying to they're just trying to make a better product. And that could help relieve some of the stress the buyer has on whether, like, I don't know, everyone hears negative things about rehabs, there's bad rehabs out there where it's only the finishes have been prettied up, but behind the walls, there's all sorts of problems.
Right, right.
And everyone's heard those, to think buyers have never heard those horror stories, they have. And so, yeah, even for the rehabbers, you can, being able to show potential buyers that you're a real company with a family, with a track record, and is trying to improve the community by fixing up these houses and returning them back to the community with an elevated value. That's a positive thing to be sharing.
Yeah,
Um, and if you want to get a better real estate agents want to work with you, but they also want to work with a good investor. And if you want to get the best agent to work with you, you've got to show that, you got to show off your product in a way that's positive, that can assure buyers that you've got something really good, and you'll attract a better quality agent to
mhm,
to work to
yeah.
work with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus, I mean, people love that stuff. I mean, that's why,
Oh, yeah.
AGTV, whatever, HGTV, whatever the name is. I mean, that's why it's so successful because people
Yeah.
really love that. They see the transition from, from old to new
Yeah.
and showing the property,
They
after
do.
years and
No,
everything.
you're absolutely right. People love that transformation process.
Yeah.
And if you are a part of it, yeah, again, if we go back to the old days with eye candy, that was the kind of stuff that we did with eye candy. Was we did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. We were doing HDTV stuff before there were, like, HDTV was around, but there wasn't a lot of realtors at the time
Do it.
doing any kind of
Right.
behind the scenes stuff,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, and, like, I do believe that helped them out a lot with,
Yes.
getting them to the point, and, like, now they're a super successful little brokerage.
Right.
Um, and it's great. I love seeing, like, I love seeing the success stories like that from
So
people that did something really incredible with video and are
yeah,
still doing it today.
it's something very incredible for their brand too. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no, 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 it did. Yeah, be on the lookout because Josh just made one with Steve and his wife
Oh,
from
really?
Eye Candy, and
Nice.
it's gonna he's cutting it this weekend, but it's another funny one.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's really, really
I had Steve. I think it was last week that I had him on the real estate talk too, and we did one already with Josh too. That we're going to put him out there this week for sure.
yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
George, thank you very much. I mean, these went a little bit longer than, but it was super entertaining. The
Yeah, yeah,
super, a lot of ideas, a lot of tips for realtors and investors that 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 they can really get out there and help and use them. Very simple stuff that they can start utilizing. So I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you getting all these out there for them. And how did they can get in touch with you now?
Yeah, you can. So for all the real estate agents and the real estate mortgage brokers, I've got a free resource on my website that you can download like right now. It's a video. It's kind of like a startup video guide, and it'll give you everything you need to get started. It's a PDF. It's free, and it's right on El Guapo videomarketing.com. So you can download that. If you got questions on video, people forward questions to me all the time. I always answer as many questions as I can during the day. I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I don't try to, I don't do any of that kind of stuff. I make videos and I try to help. Especially with the real estate community. I don't have as strong as a tie with the real estate community here in San Diego, but in Chicago, I always will. So I'm always trying to help anyone that needs it. Because I remember being an agent and not knowing anything about it, and how lost I was at that time when it came to video.
All right, awesome, George. Thank you again. Thank you very much, and hopefully
Thanks.
I'll bring you back soon, and we're
Yeah.
gonna talk some more. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show a slide right now with all your information, just in case people want to get in touch with you
Awesome.
and do some videos. All right.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So we're gonna thank you for George again. I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge in video marketing and all sorts of marketing for your real estate. Here's his information. Make sure to get in touch with him, through Facebook, Instagram, or even in YouTube. You can see some of his new stuff. I don't know if I can show. I can take my image out of there so you can. Let me see. No, I can move it, but you can definitely find them on YouTube. His website at guapovideomarketing.com. Like he says, you can find his a free guide in there with a PDF guide to start some marketing with him. All right, so thank you very much everyone to watching. Now if you're looking to if you're looking for get in touch with me, here's my information as well. Feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, if you need any free consultations or anything about your real estate investing. You can find me. I'm the most active on Facebook and LinkedIn, Instagram too. We're getting out there a little bit more now. So definitely, or through my website at christianarce.com. Now I'm just going to give you a quick word of our sponsors today. The guys of National Corporate Credit were nice to sponsor our program today, our real estate talk, and they actually help real estate investors raise funds for their deals. So if you're looking to get into real estate investing, or you are in real estate investing and you're looking for that extra funds, a lot of the lenders out there now, they're asking for a lot more money when you're buying the fix and flips or you're buying rentals. They're tightened their guidelines. So now your down payments are bigger, your reserves have to be bigger, and National Corporate Credit, they're helping people, investors, and realtors to get those deals funded. Even if you're a lender and you're having a hard time probably lending to some of your clients because they're short on liquidity, these guys can help get you that liquidity in there so you can close on your deals. Okay, get up to 250 grand, quick in 7 to 14 days. Again, thank you guys. I really appreciate you coming and seeing this. If you see this on a replay, I really appreciate it too. And I'll see you again next week.